Welcome back to the Personal Experience Podcast. My name is Jules Scott, and this episode is a solo show with me. Yay! Today I'm going to be talking about a really appropriate topic for me and a lot of us. It's called burnout. You might know this term. You might have lived this term. You might be living this term right now. It's really appropriate because it's been 2 weeks since I've done an episode because I have had a whole lot of stuff going on in my life. And so let's talk about it, because burnout is something that I deal with a lot, and I'll talk about why. So let's start from the beginning. Like, what is burnout? I looked this up. It's a term that was coined in 1974 by a man named Herbert Freudenberger in his book called Burnout: The High Cost of High Achievement. And he originally defined burnout as the extinction of motivation or incentive, especially where one's devotion to a cause or relationship fails to produce the desired results. And it just kind of goes on to say it's a reaction to prolonged or chronic job stress and is characterized by 3 main dimensions: exhaustion, cynicism, or less identification with the job, and feelings of reduced professional ability. Okay. I mean, obviously, burnout in our world comes in the job form. It also comes in kind of the personal stuff too. And it's so relevant for someone like me, specifically because, as you've heard in a couple episodes back when I talked about being an empath, one of the things that is really like, I do this a lot, is like a coping mechanism for dealing with my emotions is that I will just throw myself into work. Because if I don't have to think about what I'm dealing with, then I can focus on like really specific tasks or problems to solve or things that I need to do, deadlines to meet, all that stuff. Then I don't have to think about all the other stuff that I'm feeling, that I'm just grappling with. And so I'll throw myself right into it, and I'll just go really, really hard. And inevitably the cycle is, go hard, really, really go, stress, get very overwhelmed, have problems sleeping. My normal stress sleep cycle is, I get super tired at night. I'm ready to go to bed by like 9-10 o'clock. If I let myself go to bed that early, I'll sleep till about 1 a.m., wake up somewhere around there, and won't be awake for a couple of hours with my brain just spinning out of control. And then I'll take a melatonin, or I'll take some CBD oil, and it will help me to go back to sleep, but I won't have had really good rest. And I'm super tired the next morning, and there you go. You've got a cycle. So it's not the most exciting thing to me to be in this cycle. And inevitably, it just comes to a point where I just run out of energy. It's like the well goes dry. If you are familiar with spoon theory, you run out of spoons, you have none left, and you don't have the ability to do anything. So all of a sudden, my coping mechanism of trying to handle all the things that are in my brain, or the emotions that I'm feeling, or the emotions of everybody else around me, is now no longer working, because I don't have the motivation or the energy, or just everything has started to piss me off. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to deal with anyone. And that is the thing that it's like, I know that when that cycle happens, because suddenly my emotions are really high. I can't cover them up anymore. I can't distract myself by heavy focus, or and they start bleeding through. I've had many of these meltdowns in 2020 specifically, where I just couldn't do it anymore. And the indication of like when your emotions bubble over, you start to cry, like that is unreleased emotion. It's an unreleased need, and it's just like your body is literally forcing it out. For someone like me, that's hella frustrating. I'm like, I don't have time for this. I don't want to deal with this. I just want to keep going. But eventually, I can't. One of the things that we've tried really hard to do in my job is to make weekends to sacred time where not a lot of work is going to happen on the weekends. Like you try to just like block it out so that you don't do any work on the weekends. And sometimes I have to go to the extreme of basically like turning off all things, social media, Discord, like mute my phone just to try to cope with stuff because I know that I'm starting to get burned out when I dread that my phone or my Apple Watch has pinged me one more time. It's just like, and so a lot of times what happens is I sleep a lot. I'll be very tired. I'll be very unmotivated and I'll be very unproductive, to be frank. Like if you know me, you know that I am a super productive person. Like that's me. That's who I am at the core. I just can't stop, won't stop. But like in the last couple of weeks, probably about the last 3 weeks since about August 18th, my job has kind of gone into a place where I am doing essentially 2.5 jobs, working on a very big project. If you guys know what I do in Wisdom and Hero's Hearth and Giant Slayer, I have become the project director for the CCL, which wasn't really planned. And it kind of came out of a system where I had expected that I was going to be doing this alongside Ian, my boss, and his priorities have gotten shifted because of need within the company. So my responsibilities increased because nobody else was going to do it. And so, and I was the most trusted individual who had the ability and the skill sets and the knowledge base and the motivation to do it. But what that meant is like, I already have a full-time job at Wisdom, an operations manager. I'm doing a bunch of different stuff from payroll to writing agreements for people. I'm doing all kinds of things related to helping other projects within the company, support, administration, management, people management. And then I'm helping to basically launch an entire league system, which, let me talk a little bit about some of the stuff that I've been doing in the last couple of weeks. Writing handbooks and preparing all the data for actual release, making sure all of our loopholes were closed, that our questions were answered, preparing for a massive announcement. Which is great. We put the announcement out and then we start a PR campaign, a Reddit AMA, a podcast appearance, answering questions in our Discord, on our Twitter, DMs all over the place, trying to just make sure that people had the information that they wanted. A lot of time, a lot of effort. Whereas also it's like towards the end of the month and I'm trying to do payroll for 200 people. So, there's the start of the, oh gosh. And then the real fun began when we had the phase of having the organizations that had applied to be a part of this league CCL. We had to interview them, all of them. And I had to schedule all of the interviews. I scheduled 27 interviews. I sat through 27 hour-long interviews. And again, on top of all of the other stuff that I was doing, still talking to people, still doing my regular job. And I found like as the signs of stress were coming into my psyche and like my body, exhaustion, pure exhaustion. I couldn't exercise at all. I had started to try to start getting into a plan with exercise. I'd bought a Switch and Ring Fit Adventure, and I was trying to commit to that because I've also committed to this weight loss program. When you lay all the things out side by side that I do in a week, and I'm not trying to brag, I'm just trying to just lay the picture out. I record the show. I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to exercise. I'm working 10 to 12 hours a day. Um, and it's just like, I've got an Etsy store where I'm fulfilling orders every day. Um, and there like the wall just comes closer and closer and closer to my nose when I'm not like watching for it. And all of a sudden it is in the middle of my face, like face up against the wall. You are done. You have no more energy and you are just pissed off and mad. You meaning me. So, so this has been the cycle for the last couple of weeks. And I had to like let go of the fact that, oh my gosh, I made this commitment for this podcast and just realize like, girl, you've made this podcast. You can choose how you want to do it. You can choose how you create, and just try and like not stress out about the fact that I haven't lined up guests in a while. I had this grand plan that I was going to have a guest every week and then I have stuff in the bag. And so I would always have content just kind of flowing. And the honest truth is like, I do have content always flowing. It's just not all my personal content. And there's a part of me that just needs to be able to rest and recharge, try to deal with the trash fire that the world is going on right now. It's just dealing with feelings of isolation and not being able to see my friends. And it's just so difficult to even go somewhere. I'm like here in Minnesota, half the people out, you guys relate to this. Half the people that you go out to, even though you're supposed to wear masks in places, they're not. And I don't like going out to places. I don't like to hang, it's like I just want to be in my safe spot and not worry about what other people are trying to do. So no wonder I'm freaking burned out. No wonder I'm falling over dead. But I just really, it's just the pressure of trying to be everything is so difficult. And it winds up, like I said, crashing into a wall. And then I feel like I'm nothing. And that is a horrible feeling. It's a terrible feeling when you're just like, I don't have it in me anymore. The thing I've been good at least in the last couple of years, is to realize and recognize the signs when I see them coming, or like I know what they are. But a lot of times we don't always know what they are. We don't know that we are burnt out. This article that I was reading had a couple of signs, common signs, physical symptoms, chronic stress, headaches, stomach aches, intestinal issues, emotional exhaustion, feeling drained, unable to cope, very tired, lacking the energy to get the work done, reduced performance, not being able to just do the everyday tasks at work, feeling like they just cynical about their working conditions. It's just not something you want to be doing. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do that. And so if you are in that position, like if you are feeling these things now related to your job or the things that you're doing in your life, what is it that you are doing to help yourself just get some time to rest? When was the last time you took a vacation? When was it like, I know it's COVID times, but you know what I mean. When was the last time you took a couple days off? When was the last time that you did something nice for yourself? That you did something for yourself that related to some kind of self-care? I'm not talking about Haagen-Dazs or anything like that. I'm talking about, meditation and like all of the things that we read about and hear about. But what is it, the things, like sitting and watching a movie uninterrupted, if you can, if you have the ability to do so. Calling up a friend and just having a conversation with them that doesn't involve COVID or the election or anything else. Just talking about life. I'm the worst at this, by the way. I am the worst at this. I try every day. So I think I was talking about, I was doing this weight loss program and I'm doing this app called Noom. You've probably seen ads for it all over the place on Facebook and TV and all those things. And in Noom, you get a goal coach. You get an individual coach that messages you and tries to like help you hone in on the things that you want to do to try to accomplish all of your goals. And they break it down pretty nicely. It's pretty cool. And so my goal coach was messaging me during like the 2 weeks when I was doing all of these organization interviews, and I was doing like 6 hours of interviews a day. I was working 10 to 12 hours a day. My ability to try to function, to even think about what it was that I was going to prepare for dinner was just not there. I was like, okay, DoorDash, let's go. And then try to figure out something that isn't like going to destroy my calorie budget. And so my coach was like, do you think you could spend some time prepping food? And I just started to laugh. I'm like, yeah, I mean, ideally that'd be great. That'd be super rad. But at this point now, I'm just like, I go on to life support when I get done with a day like that. And so it's just like, I've pushed through, I've gotten everything done. I've completed the day, and all of a sudden it's just like the tank is dry. There's nothing left for me. If I had somebody here, I'd have them feed me. That's the level of exhaustion that I feel. So trying to think about food prep and grocery shopping and all of those things, it's just like, I am not going to be able to do this. And then I realized, that might not be so healthy, Jules. It might not be the way that you should do these things, and try to, there should be some balance in this, right? Like, I should be able to try to find that time to help myself. It's good care for myself. But here I am. I'm here to talk about burnout. I'm not here to solve everything about burnout. Basically, my job in this whole process is to hope that when you're listening to this, you're kind of nodding and you're seeing some of the traits in yourself that you hear me talking about. And it helps you to gain awareness of the situation. It helps you understand that there's someone else, at least, that somewhat in some way, going through some of the things that you're going through, and that we're kind of just trying to figure it out together. The main thing for all of this, though, is awareness. When you know that you're just burning yourself out and you're just continually burning yourself out, what are you going to change to make that better? And so like this week has been a lesser crazy week because I'm done with all those interviews. I don't have to spend 6 to 8 hours of time just doing, like maximum was like 6 hours of interviews. And then I had another 4 to 5 hours of my regular job that needed to be done, and questions to answer and DMs to answer and all those things. I've been able to take a little bit more time, not too much, but I've still worked a lot of hours. Let me just be frank. I worked a lot of hours this week, but it wasn't as bad as last week. And I have a team around me that's super supportive and pushes me to just, take the time off. I know you got to work late tonight. Take a couple hours in the afternoon and go take a rest or go watch a movie or something, just to give yourself a break. I try really hard to just be kind to myself. And I think that's the thing that I need to express in this show, is that we need to be kind to ourselves. We're going through some really gnarly stuff as a group, I guess. I don't know, as a human race. We're going through some really gnarly stuff on top of everything else that we've built in our lives and have in our lives and the stresses of everyday life. Like, those didn't go away when the pandemic hit. Those didn't go away when the election stuff is happening. It's just, there's a lot. And I find it therapeutic to talk about it. I find it therapeutic to try to find people in my life that I can have a little bit of that discourse with. And sometimes I don't want to talk about it at all. Sometimes I do, but at least I have some people around me that I feel like I can relate to, that get me. I think that's important for all of us. And also in the case of, if you just don't have those people in your life that are friends, family, to have the ability to talk to someone impartial, like a therapist, to talk about the things that are on your mind, someone to hold space for you. I can't tell you how invaluable it is for me to have someone who I can talk about my stuff unfiltered. Like, just because I'm pretty unfiltered when I do the show, but I can't tell you guys everything in my head. It's just not appropriate. It's not okay. And I don't feel like it's a place that I can unburden some of that stuff. And in a therapy session, I can. I can express how I'm feeling about it. I can talk about the things that are really keeping me up at night and why I can't shut my brain off and why I feel so much stress and anxiety over things that even I can't control. And the value of having someone to hold space for you and just be like, yeah, that is really hard. Like, to validate that, to help you understand that you're not alone is huge. So this process that's been really helping me with burnout as well is therapy, to make sure that I'm like not pushing myself too hard, or have someone just like hold me accountable for it. Because we live in a society, in the United States especially, where working hard is a value. It's valued, it's respected, it's revered, especially in a content creators community like ours and people who make content for a living. The standard is set to be breakneck. I work with a lot of streamers and I work with a lot of content creators, and to see a content creator have to be on for 9, 10 hours at a time, 12 hours at a time, and that they do this voluntarily, I am just like, what? I can't talk that long. I just can't. But then at the same time, I'm like, Jules, you just worked like 12 hours and you just probably talked for like 6 of them. It's just so I guess I can't really throw stones. But what I'm kind of getting around to is that our standards are really, really high when it comes to productivity and achievement. And if you don't work really hard, you're never going to make it. Hard work pays off. You got to want it. You got to push for it. You got to give it all. You got to sacrifice. You got to work 2 jobs. You got to work a full-time job, and then you got to do your streamer stuff on the side because you'll never make it. You know, those things that we ingrain in ourselves as values. So no wonder we're burnt out. No wonder we're down and frustrated, feeling sick, our bodies hurt. We've got depression and anxiety. I mean, no wonder. No wonder. And these are the things that I want to make sure that I talk about when it comes to burnout. So if you are sitting there today and you're listening to this podcast and you're like, yeah, I really do push myself too hard. The thing I would ask you is why? What is it that you are trying to do? Are you trying to keep up with your coworkers? Are you trying to reach a goal? Are you doing like me, or you use your work to cover up your emotions, to distract yourself from feeling things? What's the reason? Eventually, for me, I have to deal with the emotions of the things that are really bothering me in order to slow down. Because it's like, what happens is I don't sleep because I get that exhaustion phase like I talked about earlier. I get that exhaustion, I fall asleep for a couple hours, then I'm wide awake and my brain is spinning out for hours. It's horrible. I don't recommend it. Don't do this shit. But during that time where my brain is spinning out, I'm trying to solve problems. I'm trying to understand what I'm stuck on, what I'm feeling, why I feel bad, why I'm stressed, why I'm anxious, why I'm trying to think about what it is that what is it that I'm stuck on? Why can't I get past this? I haven't yet really gotten good at trying to fix this, but a lot of times what happens is I have these really big revelations in the middle of the night. And then if I break through, great, I can sleep. If I don't, rip. I'm not doing it. I'm probably just knocking myself out with some kind of melatonin or CBD oil to just help me get some physical rest so that I can go back and do it again. I don't recommend it. Obviously, it's not healthy, but this is how we do right now. I'm recording this, I'm publishing this show tomorrow morning. I gave it to the very last minute this week to record it, and I didn't do it last week because I just had no energy. And I made sure that I told myself I was going to do this today. Should I have done this today? I don't really know. I'll be frank. I don't really know if I should have just rested and given myself a break. But here we are. And I'm doing the show because I felt like I made a promise to myself, and I made a promise on social media. I'm going to try to make a show this week. I didn't want to miss 2 weeks in a row. It's not the standard that I wanted to set, so I did it. I guess I'm still just wondering if it was the right choice. And I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I'll be done with this and I'll be glad that I've done it. But at the same time, I don't know if I'm actually helping myself by setting those high standards. I don't know if I'm putting myself in a position where I'm just basically just going to keep going into this cycle. I just don't know. I wish I knew. But to close out this episode, I want to give a recommendation to anyone who is dealing with burnout in their job, in their life, and that is to do one nice thing for yourself today. One nice thing. And it can be anything you want. If you're not on a weight loss program, like, go get an ice cream. For me, they're trying to break me of that, so no, I'm probably not going to get some ice cream. But do something nice for yourself. Take a bath, listen to some fun music, watch a movie, catch up on the things on Netflix that you haven't seen for a while, play a video game, talk to a friend, go shopping. Find something that makes you happy, find something that makes you feel a little bit more fulfilled, and just do it. One good thing for yourself every day. It's the one thing I can say that does help me. I try to do this, and sometimes it's literally just sitting here in this chair that I'm recording this podcast from right now with the cat who is waiting all day for me to slow down so that he can lay on me and hold him. It's just to sit and just be still. And sometimes if I'm really good at it, I can actually get everything silent. So there's no like music, there's no stream on, there's nothing. I can just enjoy the time with him in my arms because he just loves to lay on me and have me hold him. And I just listen to the world around me, which is something I don't do a lot. I don't actually have a lot of silence in my life. It's kind of interesting when you think about that. Are you someone that's like that? Do you always have to have something on? Like a TV, radio, music, stream. Even when I sleep, I have to have a white noise machine running for me to sleep. I can't deal with silence. So it's interesting when I actually allow myself to listen to silence and the feelings that I get around whether I'm comfortable or not. Just something to think about. If you'd like to nominate or suggest a guest or suggest a topic that you'd like me to cover, you can reach me and the show in a few ways. You can reach me by email at personalexperiencepodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet me at JulesRPG, or you can tweet the show at its new home, its Personal EXP Show. This show is available on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Pocket Cast, YouTube, and Direct Feed. Thank you for listening to the Personal Experience Podcast. Seek understanding. Feel empathy. Connect to one another. I'll see you next time.